Let's start. So here we go. So what did we prepare for the NAB 2025? So let's see, what's happening. So number one, we have an imminent update to Colourlab. It's a 3.4. Okay, so what we did there is a couple of things. So we are now releasing our new kind of type of architecture that we are putting into our products. And the first product that's going to adopt this new architecture is going to be a creator, basically for DaVinci Resolve. So you will notice that one thing we're going to have to do now, unfortunately, because we just expanding the amount of platform that we are supporting. What we are doing is we are adding now support for every platform independently. So like if you want to have a DaVinci Resolve support, you have to have a DaVinci Resolve version of Creator. If you want to have a Nuke support, you have to have a Nuke version of Creator. Just simply, it became unmanageable to support every platform inside a single application. So we're having to separate them in order to be able to simplify the support and development and everything else. So this new architecture is now happening first with the creator for DaVinci, and we already used it. We just finished a massive 800 people training program this week called the 3-day color grading challenge, where we try to get a bunch of people who have not graded before or have a little bit graded before, and try to teach them how to do color grading using AI. It was a great experiment, and just the number of participants just tells us, yes, there is a big interest in color grading, and yes, people do find color grading hard, and they want to be able to simplify their workflow. So we also tested the new version of Creator as a part of that workflow to see how it's going to work. So what is really new about it is that now the Creator also includes plugin. You told us we love plugin. Plugin is amazing. Can we please have plugin? And we now put the plugin into Creator. But what we don't get to give you in a Creator is the look designer and a grain lab. So basically, you will have a Colourlab Ai plugin inside DaVinci Resolve, but you won't have all the look design and the grain capabilities that you have in the Pro version. Okay, and the great news is that for many people who are not necessarily ready to dive big time into color grading, and this is I think everybody kind of remembers that there's a little path. You kind of look at the color grading a little bit from a distance, then you try it, and then you like it, and then you kind of step into it. So most people really start with a free version of DaVinci, and now Colourlab Ai Creator works with free version of DaVinci because you have a plugin inside, and for that you don't need a studio, so you can link without any problems and you can work without it, right? So this is a really a great announcement that obviously is opening doors to AI color grading to many people. Up to now you had to have a studio version. And this whole linking process for many people was a little bit difficult. Sometimes was failing, sometimes was problem with media, this and that. So all of that is now being removed. You stay in DaVinci, you work with the plugins. It's much easier way how to start, how to learn, how to get the first steps. So the next thing then we're doing is we have then improved the plugin, and you're going to see a lot of improvement on the plugin side as well. So what we did is you told us, hey, Dado, I have so many references that I'm building. I have so many things that are happening on the plugin. I really, build myself all the library of these kind of things. So can you be please improve it? And yes, so we did it. We improved it for you. I'm going to show this now in a minute, what it looks like. It's just basically us, adding more features to it. And the most important feature, we're adding projects. So what you can do is you can then build projects where all your references are going to be saved. And in that way, you have a little bit better control to what's happening. We're a little bit improving the management, the sorting, the importing, everything's just getting a little bit easier and faster. Okay, and you asked as well, hey, I'm working with the DNG files. For many people, this DNG is like a workaround when you have a ProRes RAW in DaVinci, and you convert it losslessly to DNGs, or you're working with some drone files that record in DNG files. So yes, now we added this, so DNG supported, and we updated our Blackmagic design, RAW support for the new Pixis camera. So both of those are now supported, and they are basically in the new 3.4 update. Okay. So the next thing then, what we have, we updated Filmlab to 3.1.2. It's a important kind of point update. You have to, even though it's not like a big jumps, but you have to understand that there's a lot of like a very microscopic things that are happening in the background with Filmlab. And the number one improvement is LensLab. LensLab is getting huge amount of attention simply because there is no other plugin that does anything like LensLab does, and is being really like, taken under the loop and criticized and tested against real lenses and all of this stuff. So there is a couple of really important updates that happened there. So first thing we did is we have introduced something which is called Center Protect. So what is Center Protect? So basically, the lens, has a certain distortion, and what we wanted to protect the center part so that, if you have basically a close up on a person or something like that, you're then able to isolate that part of an image from any lens distortion in case you're already using a lens that has a certain characteristic and you wanted to preserve that. So you want only the edges, for example, to be more affected by the lens. And then we have changed completely, and this was a huge rewrite. It sounds like a little thing, but actually, which is basically the lens defocus intensity. Okay, so you have to understand right now, before what we were doing, when you say, oh, I have a defocus, right? And then you could say, okay, how much the amount of defocus, and that amount of defocus was calculated, statically. That means there was a fixed defocus amount. Now this defocus is dynamic. That means that it's basically the amount of defocus is changing with the intensity. So it's not like that I have one intensity that I'm then amount of that I'm changing the kind of the blend of it. No, that I'm changing actually the intensity of defocus, right? So this is really, really challenging, in terms of the mathematics and programming and everything like that. So it took us a while to figure this one out, but it was in works. It wasn't just working real time. We managed to get it now to work real time for you. So it's actually really huge improvement. These little add-ons really, really matter. Some of you had issues with multiple GPUs, I don't know, not on Linux, only on Windows for some reason. It was probably, some sort of driver stuff and stuff like this. So we've managed to figure out what it is. So this update solves all of those problems. And also we have improved significantly the grain chromaticity. What happens is that we were not color space aware in terms of the chromaticity. It was continuous. And now we're color managing the chromaticity as well. So, so basically you're getting more accurate result on that. Again, small improvement, but one that matters for those who really care. In HaloLab, we have improved the filtering. Filters are those, effects like a glow, bloom, and so on. So they are now working at a little bit higher precision. And there is a certain improvement in terms of the blending and all of that. So basically, they have an overall higher fidelity. And also another thing you told us about Filmlab, when we changed it to server-based licensing, we thought it's an improvement. But many of you like to take Filmlab away with you, work on laptops or systems, or just go to a client place and work with that. So we now have made the server licensing optional. So you can actually license all of the plugins, including GrainLab and Look Designer, inside, just the plugin licensing. You can work without server. Like this last update 3.1 required server for all the plugins to run. That's not a requirement anymore. You can actually work without it. So there's this update happening as well. So it just makes it a little bit easier for you. Many of you also go on client sites and you work on clients' computers, and there's a pro installing and stuff like this. So we were like, okay, fine, no problem. Just single license, enter, and then you have all the plugins there. So there was like a little updates there. So basically, what we did now is to make everything a little bit simpler, and this whole changes, like a kind of clearer to understand, because people ask us, what's the difference between these two? And I understand it was not easy. So we made it very simple for you to understand, and we're adding a new product type. So there is going to be a creator. Okay, so the creator is going to have a desktop application, it's going to have a server, and it's going to have a plugin. Okay, so basically that's it, but it's no a look design inside the desktop application. And what we did is we added also Tin Man support to the creator. So you're going to be able to play a role on all of our systems. We're not limiting that at all. So the next thing then we have then is basically the Pro version, the most popular version. Most of you use Pro. And the Pro is a desktop server plugin, like Colourlab Ai plugin. And then we have a look designer and grain lab included in that subscription. Okay. And it has a full range. Nothing is limited. Everything works inside. Everything's working absolutely great. And then we have a studio version. Again, we used to have studio version. We merged it with Pro. Now we're expanding studio version. Because what we noticed is that most of our Pro users were also buying Filmlab. So we were like, well, hang on a moment. Why don't we just make it much simpler for them to do this? And then also that avoids you going through the application process, because application process sometimes takes a day or two for you to do it and stuff like this. So you can now like go and straight away just buy a studio version, and studio version is going to have a desktop server, plugin, look designer, grain lab, IO node, lens lab, halo lab, print lab, basically the whole shaboom. So, you have basically one subscription that manages all of our, high-end plugins and everything. And it just makes it a little bit easier for all of you, kind of, you don't have to go through the hoops buying it. Even though we were giving you discounts always for Filmlab and everything, we just want to make it so easy for you that you can go to the website and buy it and so on. And we also realized that, because this is a high-end product, it's a little bit more expensive, it's not really bought by anybody. People who really work as professionals are only people who are buying it. So we don't really, have to worry so much about the control. Hey, is this a professional person or not? And so just so you know, the approval rate for Filmlab Ai at the moment is around 60%. So there is about like a less than a half people who are applying for it who are really not like a professional colorist. I don't know why they are interested in buying these products, but anyway, so just to kind of an interesting fact for you. All right. And then what I really, I'm most excited about to talk about, what I really want to, show you is this whole thing with the Colourlab version 4. Okay. And, the Colourlab version 4 is, a reflection of the times we live in. Really, we are riding that wave of incredible speed of development in AI. And I am really like able to say that what is accelerating the development of AI is AI. Because it's crazy. But now we are also internally in our company using AI more and more to help us with the development. We are, there is just a lot of things that are happening in AI, that are just helping us accelerate. Now you have to really understand that, we are in a unique position because we use AI only for color. But what we do is we're involved in all these other kind of things. Like, so there's people who use AI for automating marketing. There's people who use AI for doing, data analysis or stuff like this. And all of this is really very useful to us because we learn from all of those examples and we just adapt them to what, we are doing. And also, what's very exciting is what's very happened is that, we now have a very good base model, right? So you see what we've been doing all these years, like last 7 years, we've been working towards developing this model. And now we have a good model, so we don't have to really restructure our model, at least for another year or two before the models don't go crazy again. Right. So we're in a very stable position. Our model is well trained. It really well understands the content to what's happening. This was the biggest challenge, that your model understands, hey, I'm matching a face to a mountain. Of course, I'm not going to go and try to match hue of a face to the mountain, right? Like stuff like this, so you don't want to, you didn't want to train your model on such a stupid stuff. You wanted that actually to kind of be understandable by the model itself. So we're there now. We have a very good model. And now we can then improve on and iterate on top of that base model and build the new features. Okay. So basically what we also do is you have to understand we're a company that is working, and I love that principle. I think it was University of Pennsylvania that did it. So what they did is they built a new campus. And once the campus was built, they were arguing a lot about, hey, where are we going to put the paths between the buildings, right? I think we should go like this, we should go like this. And somebody who very smart at the university said, listen, we're not going to put any paths. We're just going to leave the grass the way it is. And, after the first semester, we will know. And indeed, after the first semester finished, there was really paths where students were walking from building to building. And they said, this is exactly where we're building our paths. And you see, I also see software development exactly like that. The purpose of software is not to develop. The purpose is to serve the customers, right? And I feel like that, I don't drive the development of the software. The customers do. People who use our software do drive the because at the end of the day, that's the purpose. Why are you building the path? Well, you're building the path between the buildings so people can get from building to building in most convenient and shortest way. So, so I really feel that, our software development works in the same way. We kind of let you use our software and then we see how you use it. You tell us how you use it, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and then helps us understand what we need to do. And version 4 is just 100% reflection of everything that's happening. And there is basically two worlds, that are really happening. We see really two distinct areas to how people differently use our software, right? On one side, we have a professional colorist, and they want more control, more granularity, more specific applications that are very specific to them, what they're trying to do with color. Okay. And on the other side, we have people who are we call them creators, who are not really colorists, right? And they just want to have their color looking okay. They're not here to steal jobs from colorists. They just have clients who, want them to create videos that look okay, right? They don't look, and they have all these log cameras and everything, and they just kind of are really getting lost with all the LUTs and things and that. And so they really feel like, I need to know some color. I don't want to be colorist. I don't have time to do that. And these are two distinct worlds, and then we see that professional colorists is getting so much better in what they're doing. And also there is a really the quality of output, what professionals are doing is much higher. But at the same time, those who are not pros, who are just doubling, well, the quality of their output is also getting better. So overall, I think as an industry, we're kind of, constantly improving the image quality, improving the output of where we are. And we want to serve both. We have to serve both, because this is who the clients are. But, so we are basically working a little bit to understand that. So, okay, so let's start now with that. So our user interface needed a rework. It looked a little bit kind of, 2022. So yes, we needed a new one. So we're building a new one. And unfortunately, right now, the Colourlab Ai, this version 4 beta works on Windows first. So I can't really demo my computer right now in real time, but I'm going to just show you a little bit how it works. So the first thing we have developed is we are now separating. So far what we had a one match, and it was only producing a CDL. Okay. And that was okay. That was all right. And it was great for us to show that we can do this. But now we are expanding. So think about it. We are now adding more processing points. And each one of these processing points, we're going to automate separately. Or you could get the chain of processing to happen in one click. Okay. So first of all, yes, we have already automated IDTs. So that's already done. That's already there. Okay. So we do have auto exposure, right? But our auto exposure right now works only well if you take your mouse and you highlight the center of an image, your focus. So what we did now is we've trained our model to do that for you. Okay, so basically we now have a new AI exposure that is just one click. You don't have to go to the image and do it. And what's really cool, it will create a new processing node that is going to be only exposure. So when you also send it back to resolve, it will be a new node, and this node is going to say, hey, I'm exposure only, right? Okay, the next thing we have is we already had a white balance, and it's really working well. We're not touching it. But what we did differently is now we made white balance a separate node. Okay, so it's new. So you could have an exposure adjustment, and on top of that exposure, you can now adjust white balance. Or you could just use white balance, right? So you're basically getting a little bit more freedom to how you want to use these tools. They don't overwrite one another like they're doing right now, okay? So the white balance is staying and it's working well, but it's becoming separate. Okay, another thing that a lot of you told us is this contrast issue, right? So many images, right? We match color very well, but the contrast needs a little bit more work. And that work is not necessarily achieved simply by using CDL. CDL is okay, it's good, it works, but some shots, especially if you have different types of cameras and stuff like this, if your reference is God knows what and what it is, needs a curve, needs a custom curve. So yes, I have good news. We are now training and we are very close to having it completely done. Actually, it's doing an amazing job already. We're building an AI custom curve. So you're really going to get an interface with a curve and it will do an adjust curve for you. So you'll be able to say, well, I love color in this shot. I just want to adjust contrast, for example, and then it's just going to do an adjust contrast for you. Okay. And that is then going to do and move into DaVinci as a 1D LUT for you. Okay. So that's the one. Then we're doing a new fine match. Okay. This is a thing that many of you asked for, and we were really kind of, figuring out how to do it, what to do. There had to be a balance between, a complete automated match and something that you want to adjust. I don't like those gimmicky, just grab an image from film and then it's gonna match it for you. I really don't like this. It's to me like it's like I never get a result that I feel like it's good. I always feel like I want to do something. I want to readjust this result. It's kind of maybe my nature because I like color grading, and I think most of our customers do as well. They don't want to just kind of one kind of click solution that they don't know what to do afterwards, right? So what we did is we built this little kind of joystick for you, right? And this joystick is going to then help you transition between original and graded. On top, you have luminance. On bottom, you have chrominance. Okay, so what does it mean? So that means that basically I can match two shots, but I can choose if I want to watch more chrominance or luminance, or I can balance luminance, chrominance, and I can then shift between the two. When I demo you in real time like this, you will really be able to understand. It's super intuitive. It's super easy to understand what you want your match to be. So it really helps you very easily to move this joystick left, right. It's kind of, if you also know, I teach the theory of a look, which says like, okay, every look we can map on the XY axis, depending on contrast and temperature. This is exactly that, but where we are transitioning between your source and reference. And this is as an ultimately going to give you a log to log LUT. So it will be basically a 3D LUT as an output that once it sits inside DaVinci Resolve. It's super useful, especially for cameras. It's useful when you have particular color of the sky, but you want to preserve the skin. It's super useful, like many situations where CDL simply is not, it's kind of moving into that secondary, territory. Talking about secondaries, well, we're building our first secondary. You're going to have the first secondary, and it's going to be called the skin effects. So basically, it will automatically keyframe or key out the skin of a person you're doing, and you'll be able to do simple, skin texture adjustments. We will be less worried about the color of the skin. We'll be more worried about, some filtering, because, we kind of, feel like, okay, this is more important. Maybe we'll add some color to it later, but right now it will be simple filtering, simple softening of the skin without you having to do any qualify. And no, this is not the algorithm that you've seen in other software where a person has to sit and look at the camera. This is completely different approach, something that nobody else is doing. So it's completely developed in-house, and it works if persons like miles away, just a little tiny thing will know whether we can isolate their skin or not, whether even when they turn their head around and they come back into shot again, we'll still be able to track it. So it's a completely new approach to it. It eliminates the errors that traditional AI color trackers of faces have got. And then we're adding a little texture to it. The texture matching, it's not going to be too crazy for you, but yes, if you are trying to match, let's say C300 to your GoPro, and the GoPro is so much sharper, will help you with AI to do that. And then also we're adding a little window, and window is just going to be controlled by the AI in terms of its intensity. But right now we're not going to go too crazy with positioning. We just want you to kind of, have, if you have images that you're trying to match and there is some level of mapping that is happening through secondary windows, we'll try to help you with that and improve you with that. So these are like a little tools that we are adding to it, that are just part, and we're trying to make them as simple as possible to operate. So like it's not just too complicated. You don't have to know too many nodes. You'll be able to, and by driving AI. And as I said, like you can just click and either one of them, right? You can say, okay, give me my exposure or give me my balance, right? Or you could keep them on and off and just press one button, grade, and it's going to process all of them in a row for you at the same time. So basically it can work fully automated, or it can be super automatic, or individual. Okay, next we have memory, and memory is a huge update, and you will see why it's important, why the memory is important. Okay, so far what we've been doing is we've been always matching to a single shot. Oh, where's your reference? Okay, then take this reference and match this. Oh, there is a reference. Take this reference and match this. Okay, then we come to the next shot. Next shot says, I have a close-up here of oh, well, I need to change my reference because I had this reference, for my close-up before. I want to match my close-up, so you have to go, say, select new reference, match, right? Super slow, right? Super slow. I mean, it was still great, but super slow. So what we did now is we are now allowing you to build your memory, we call it, right? And what it is you just throw as many shots as we want. We tested it even with 1,000 shots, right? And you put 1,000 shots inside. And then the AI is going to say, oh, of course, man, I had this shot before. This is your reference. Let me put that shot as your match reference, and I'm going to do this for you, right? So basically, you can build yourself the look, and that's really what you do as a professional colorist. What we do is we go through the project, we grade key scenes, and then we go and we match the rest of the scene to those key references. That's really how professional colorists work. They don't go shot by shot, first shot until the last shot. They go, they find every key moment, key looks, decide what these looks are, save those looks, and then basically based on those looks, match everything else. That's exactly the workflow we're building here. So you're going to go, you're going to get your key looks, you're going to put them in a memory, and you're going to do this. This is extremely useful if you're working on an episodic show. And that episodic show means you graded first episode, and now every second episode can be graded based on the first one, as long as the locations are similar, right? And what's happening is similar. Well, you'll be pretty successful. Like we have a clients, they do all this, cooking shows and reality TV shows and all of this stuff. And they really are going to benefit from it greatly, because every time they're in the same location, same studio, same thing, it's just different dish that's being cooked. So for them, this is going to be a huge, huge, huge advantage. Okay, and why was this very important? Well, this was all very important because of the following thing. And this is that we're now introducing Colourlab Agent. Okay, so you probably, if you follow the AI, you have understood, or you got a hint of the idea that what's happening with AI in general is this transition from something that just does this thing you tell it to do to something that can autonomously perform multiple tasks for you. Okay, so I know that this is not necessary now, like available widely in every aspect of AI that you use, like stuff like that. But these agents, right, are coming. And there's one agent coming your way that is going to be dedicated to color grading. Okay. Now, I do have here basically a little demo that I prepared. Now I have to tell you, I'm running it off of a beta software. So I want to just show you how it's going to work so that you kind of see a little bit what I mean by that. Okay, so there is this timeline I prepared. Here we go. Okay, so this is this timeline, and I have already loaded it into Colourlab. Okay, so it's all here. All right, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and tell to my agent. So this is basically kind of an agent, right? And I'm gonna tell it, first I have to tell it what I wanna do. So you need to turn it on and you have to say color grade for me. Okay, so what you do that. So now I'm running this also remotely, guys. So just, you know, because the computer that actually is doing color grading is not this computer, it's gonna have to be another one because I'm not connected to it. It says, would you like me to color grade active sequence currently loaded in Colourlab Ai? And I'm gonna say, okay, yes, color grade. Yes, please. I'll be nice to my AI. Okay, sorry, I have some coming here. I'm gonna say, yes, please. Okay, great. Okay, so now it's thinking, analyzing. Can you please confirm which memory I should use for color grading this timeline? I have one memory which is called memory 1. So this could be, no, I didn't spell this correctly. Memory 1. Excellent. So basically, you can have only one active memory. The memories you can save as file names. Okay. We will give you some memories as well. And also, you know, you build your own. But, you know, you basically have to just, you know, use this memory kind of as a term to what you want to do. It doesn't work without memory. It only works with memory. Actually, there's some things that we can do with it, but, you know, I'm at the moment, you know, the memory is the main thing that's going to happen. Okay, so now it's going to do the memory. Okay, so now it goes ahead, it works, right? It does its job, and hopefully if everything's all right, we'll see what's going to happen. Oh, there we go. Thank you. It's completed. Task completed. Would you like me to push the resulting things? I'm going to say, actually, you know what? I already pushed it, so I'm going to just show you what it is earlier, so it doesn't matter. So I have here a Venice graded, and this is basically the result I got. I used a custom node tree, and I basically got it to go and match this look for me completely. So this is basically where we're going. We're going to be able to do stuff like this. You can also, for example, tell it, can you make a beach shot 10% darker? You could, for example, say that. It is smart enough to know to analyze your timeline and to figure out what's the beach shot understood. I'll make 10 beach shot changes completed. So you can say that. You can also do following. You can also say, okay, I want to now, let me see. All right, let me do this. Okay, you can upload an image. All right, image uploaded successfully. Let's see what it's thinking about it. Okay, I will analyze the uploaded image. Thank you for the reference image. Oh, it's not the, you know, reference since I think it's using a previous image with that, but you could say, use this image as a reference for the first shot. For example, you can do that, and then it's going to go and use the set it up for you and do this and so on. So basically, you know, you will be able, matching completed, that's going to happen, everything done. Okay, so what you will be able to do effectively, what we want you to be able to do is we want you to be able to take your whole 1 hour episode documentary, what it is, you type to an agent, you tell it, here is my memory, dude, you know, just go ahead, do it. You pick up your coffee, you go to your balcony or a little bit nice place you enjoy, you play some nice music you love, and a few minutes later you come back to your computer, and you know what, it's already been pushed, it's already waiting for you, and now you can just gracefully come and do little adjustments to your timeline, make little changes, and be able to complete jobs in a record amount of time. We believe right now it's still a little slow, like we have like things, you know, we're working on it to accelerate it, but we believe that we will cut your time by 90%. So if basically it used to take you 10 hours to grade something, we want you to be able to complete the same thing using an AI agent in 1 hour, right? This is our target. Now, whether this is going to be possible the moment we release it or maybe a few months later, I believe by already end of this year, we're going to be there, that we're going to be able to accelerate long form grading in particular to the level that is going to save you such an amount of time that it's not even question whether it's helping you or not. Because, you know, if you really can cut 9 hours out of your grading time, then I think, you know, we have succeeded. This is, you know, like, you know, 10x is a target that we're trying to achieve, and believe with this agent we're going to be able to do that. So these are the supported platforms for our new architecture plugin server desktop. So at the moment it's working in DaVinci Resolve, in Nuke, in Baselight. By the way, Baselight released a new Mac version of Baselight. We're fully supporting it. All our plugins run in it. We already tested it. We have customers using it. We're supporting it in Flame on Mac and Linux. Avid is coming. Avid is in works. We're going to have it working in Avid. Premiere and Final Cut are supported at the moment through the linking process like we do, but we were also going to go and develop the plugin architecture the same way how we do it in all the other platforms for Final Cut and Premiere as well. So these are also going to be available and supported. Okay, so now I want to just leave it to you, open it to you guys, and just see a little bit like, you know, any questions you have, and then have a little Q&A. So that we can also discuss a couple of things and see what's happening and what happened to you, what you think about it, and so on. So let me see. I have here Robert. When all these updates will be available for download? Oh, very good questions. Yes, you're right. So we want to go, so version 3.4 is going to be available this weekend. The NAB is opening on Sunday. So by Sunday or Monday, you know, you're going to be able to download 3.4. This is available immediately. The version 4 is going to be end of this month into private beta. So we basically, our target is end of April private beta. So if you guys are already beta customers, you are going to automatically get it. And then we are hoping to be fully publicly released by September this year, maybe earlier as well, depending how, you know, the whole beta testing goes, how quickly, you know, this whole agent stuff is happening and so on. But yes, so this is the plan.